This is a super common mistake that a lot of people make. They stand way too far away from their recording device, and then the audio doesn't sound good. I usually wear a lav or a lavalier microphone that plugs right into my cell phone to improve the quality of my audio. If you don't have a lav microphone, just make sure to stand really close to your cell phone. So I want to show you a couple of things that you can do to improve the quality of your audio, whether you have a lav microphone or not. Let's start with this first clip. I'm going to apply a denoise effect. So if you click the effects panel over here on the right, you'll also find it on the top here. You'll find a lot of different audio effects. I just typed in denoise, but you can also find it under the noise reduction folder. I'm going to click and hold denoise and then just drag and drop it onto my audio right there. I have my effects control panel open, but sometimes it's hiding under these arrows here. And if you ever can't find anything, you can always go to your windows and then click it here next to effects control, and then it'll pop up. So I've just applied the denoise effect to this clip, and I see it right here on my effects control, and you want to make sure that this clip is also highlighted. I'm going to hit edit, and there's a default option, there's heavy noise reduction, and there's light noise reduction. What I'm trying to do here is reduce some of the background noise that my cell phone microphone picked up because I wasn't wearing a lav microphone. It picked up a lot of the room noise. So I'm just going to try to clean that up a little bit. It doesn't actually need a lot of noise reduction, and so I'm only going to select the light noise reduction. If I select a heavy noise reduction, it's going to end up sounding over edited, and we just want to apply the bare minimum audio effects when we're going to try to make something sound more natural or cleaner, because you don't want people to be distracted with over editing your audio. So when I have applied this effect, I can scroll on my timeline back to the beginning and just hit play. I can use my space bar to hit play, and I could watch my audio waves here. I usually wear a lav or a lavalier microphone. So that's what it sounds like with a light noise reduction. I always like to use this bypass the effect button as I'm playing to hear what it sounds like before and after. So let's try that. Phone that plugs right into my cell phone to improve the quality of my audio. I feel like that really helps identify if I need to add more noise reduction or if I need to remove any. I can also slide this and make it be more noise reduction, or I can leave it down where it was here, which I thought was pretty good. I can also select this output noise only button, and that'll help you hear the noise that I'm actually removing from this final edited clip on my timeline. Just remember to unclick this again, and when you're all done, just hit this exit button here and it'll automatically save. So this clip now has noise reduction on it. But when we go back to this one, you'll really notice the background noise that's going to be a lot harder to remove because I was standing so far away from my camera. It's a super common mistake that a lot of people make. So this clip doesn't have noise reduction on it, so I'm going to go ahead and just add it. So it's better to re-record and just be within 3 feet of your cell phone if you're not using a lav microphone. But if you really have to save the clip, this is going to make it better than nothing. It's not going to sound perfect, and that's very common in audio editing. But let's go ahead and listen to what it sounds like with some denoise. Common mistake that a lot of people make. They stand way too far away from their recording device, and then... So it does help to have a light noise reduction, but let's go ahead and make it around 50 and see if that works a little bit better, because there is a lot more noise in the background. Since I'm standing so far away, my microphone on my cell phone is trying to pick up my voice, and I've also had to increase the volume of my voice because I'm so far away. And when I increase the volume of my voice, it's also going to increase the background noise. So let's see if 50% light noise reduction works. And I'm also going to toggle this bypass the effect button as we play so you can hear with and without the effect. This is a super common mistake that a lot of people make. They stand way too far away from their recording device, and then the audio doesn't sound. So it does help, but it's not perfect. So I would always recommend that you stand closer to the camera. There's another way that you could use the denoise effect, and I'm going to show you an example on this clip. I am using a lav microphone in this clip, but I'm standing really close to a very noisy air conditioning unit, and I'm going to want to use the denoise effect to remove some of that background noise. So let's play this so you can hear what it sounds like without the denoise effect. We usually don't notice noises around our house that are made by things like air conditioning units. I've added the denoise effect to this second clip, so let's listen to how different it sounds with that background noise removed. We usually don't notice noises around our house that are made by things. It sounds a lot better, and this is a really ideal scenario to use the denoise effect because you can hear that that background noise that I've removed is the audio that you heard in this one of the air conditioning unit. If I want to scroll down in my effects control and try listening to that denoise, I'm going to listen just to the output only, and you can hear that air conditioning unit running in the background. We don't notice noises around our house that are made by things. And then I'm going to unselect that and play this for you again with the effect. We usually don't notice noises around and without the effect around our house that are made by things like air conditioning. So I did end up using about 50 or so, and you can play around with this depending on what the noise is and on each clip. The other thing I added to this one is a vocal enhancer. Vocal enhancer can also help improve the quality if you're trying to talk and you want the rest of the volume around you to be reduced. So you can either type in vocal enhancer, and it'll pop up right here, or you can find it under the audio effects special menu. You're going to do the exact same thing where you click and then you just drag and drop it right on, and then you'll see it pop up in your effects control panel. The only thing you really need to do with this one when you hit edit is select your tone. So I have a kind of a high-pitched voice. My husband has a very deep voice. So if I was editing his voice, I would probably use low tone. But for me, I'm going to stick with high tone, and you can hit play and hear the difference. And I think it sounds a lot better with high tone. Let's play so that you can hear with the effect and without the effect. This is with the effect. Usually you don't notice noises around this is without the effect. Our house that are made by things like air conditioning units. So you do hear that it makes a little bit of a difference. The next example that I want to show you, which is a very common audio problem, is when you have audio volume peak in your clip. You can see the audio waves right here that we have a little bit of a problem right here. And what's happening is that I'm turning my face toward the lav microphone. And then my volume gets louder. And when I hit play, you're going to see on my audio meter that the audio is just way too loud, and I don't want it to sound overmodulated when my viewers are listening to my video. So let's listen to what this sounds like. To like hair hitting. It's just too loud right here. It just gets a little too loud. When you see it start turning orangey red, I could lower the volume of the entire clip by clicking here and dragging this bar down, but then the rest of my volume won't be the perfect volume, which is around -12 decibels. So I applied this effect to this clip where I used this tool, the pen tool, to make little edits on my volume and just lower the volume right here. So let's do that together on this one. I clicked on my pen tool. I'm going to come over here on this volume line, and I'm going to click and then create a dot, click again, create a dot, click and click. And now what I can do is just drag this down here. And all I'm doing is telling Premiere Pro that inside of this little window here, I want the volume to be reduced. So when I play it, or you can scroll through it, you can see that the volume level is about even, which is the goal there. This is common if you're outside recording a video and maybe a car honks in the background and it's really distracting. You might want like a super dramatic, just drop in your volume right as the car honks. There's other ways to use this as well. Instead of using the pen tool, you can hold down the command button on your Mac, and then you see your cursor changes a little bit, and you could create these
little keyframes this way. If you've created too many, you want to remove them, you can just right click above one of them and just hit delete. And it's no harm in having them there, but if you don't want to accidentally move it up and down, you can delete those. The next one that we're going to look at right here is just some explainer on why some audio looks a little bit differently than others. So this is the same shot. I recorded this one with my cell phone, and I recorded this one with my lav microphone. And so the main difference here is that you see this is one channel of audio, whereas this one, I can see my left channel and I can see my right channel. And when I hit play, both of these are actually pretty even. So when I watch my audio meter over here, it's going to look pretty much the same as this one. Let's talk about audio. Let's talk about audio. It's pretty much the same, except this is mono. And so these left and right channels are exactly the same. And this one, you can see a slight difference. Sometimes if you're recording, you might have only recorded on the left and instead of the right, and the right side might be mute. So it's really important to pay attention to this, because if you only export everything out of one channel, people who are listening with their headphones, for example, will only be able to hear your voice out of the left headphone and not the right headphone. And so the way to fix that is to change the audio tracks. So one way that you could do that is to right click in the bin. This is the clip that we're editing here. We're going to right click, and then I'm going to scroll down to modify audio channels. And my clip right now is in stereo, which means you can see it's two. It's the left channel and it's the right channel, but I can turn it into mono by clicking that button there. Another thing I can do instead, if let's say my left channel is a higher quality than my right channel, and I just want to use my left, I can click here and then it will duplicate my left. Or if it's the other way around, I could duplicate my right channel. But in this instance, I'm just going to hit mono to show you the difference. When I grab that clip, I'm just going to hit yes, and I'm going to grab this and drag it here, and you'll see that this is now one. So as opposed to this one, which was mono to begin with. So the other thing I wanted to show you about that is that when I recorded this audio here, this is me talking without my lav microphone, and this is me talking while wearing a microphone. You can see that these audios are, these audio waves here are much cleaner as opposed to these, which are lower. They're a little muddled. And that's because when I record with my lav microphone, it is a better quality than when I record with my cell phone without the lav microphone. But since I was standing close enough, it really isn't that bad. And I can use some of those techniques like the vocal enhancer and the denoiser to improve that quality. Another example that I want to show you here is if you're trying to cut a sound bite and the person just won't stop talking, like in this example where I'm standing in front of this window and I only wanted to use a piece of what I said, but you could hear me continue on with my next word. So this is what I actually wanted to happen, and I'll show you how I made that audio cut sound a little bit cleaner. Or sliding glass door. So that was the end of the word. But then if you look at the original clip, I did keep talking, and you can see these words right here on my waves, but I'll play them and then I'll show you why I needed to use keyframes to clean up the end of that soundbite. Sliding glass door. Instead, so I did keep talking here, and instead of just using this razor tool to cut my soundbite and then just toss the rest, I wanted to clean that up, because if you look at this little piece right here, there's still audio there, and it sounds kind of like an abrupt ending. So let me play this for you without using this keyframe drop that I did on the original one. Glass door. So you can kind of hear me talking there at the end. So let me show you how to clean that up. So if I zoom all the way in right here, if I zoom all the way in, this is the audio that I kind of want to remove. So I'm going to use the pen tool, and I'm going to click right here, and then I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to drag this down to kind of mute this really quickly so you can't hear me go on to say my next word. But that way I don't have to like cut myself way too close to this word. So let's play this so you can kind of hear what this is. Or sliding glass door. And then the last thing I wanted to show you here is what happens if you try to drag media onto your timeline and the audio doesn't show up. So this A1 here, if you're dragging your audio into the first audio track, if this is not selected and I try to drag this onto my timeline, you'll notice that it only gives me my video 1 track and it doesn't add my audio here in A1. So that's a common thing that people have issues with. All you want to do is take a look, is this A1 blue? If it's not, click it. And then when we try dragging this again, you'll see the audio does come with the video in this instance. Hopefully these audio editing tricks are helpful. These are some of the most common ones that I see people struggling with. But let me know if you have any other questions, if any other audio tips come up. The most important tip is probably garbage in, garbage out. That's something you hear a lot. So the better your audio is when you record, the easier it will be to make it sound better when you edit, as opposed to spending a lot of time trying to fix the audio that might not sound great at the end. So a lot of times you're just better off re-recording a little closer to your microphone.